All advice given is for general information purposes. All legal cases are different, and you should seek the advice of your own attorney before acting or making decisions. No attorney-client privilege applies to communications on this show, and no attorney-client relationship is created by calling or writing in. Attorney Rominger practices only in Pennsylvania and maintains his primary office in Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Well, welcome back. Carl Rominger here, 540-0580. Just trying to answer little legal questions here and gather a little news as we go. Try to learn a few things. Whatever you want to know. I probably don't know it, but I might be able to help you find out who will or point you in the right direction. Of course, keep in mind, anything and everything we say on this show is based on the limited 3-second conversation that we have immediately before I render my advice. And like all things, when it's free, it's probably worthless. So also keep that in mind. 540-0580. Robert, you're on the air. Robert?
You okay? On that labor law, the guy was an employee.
Okay.
He has to look at that 10,000 judgment in 3 tiers. First one is back wages. The second one is the 401k that was withheld from his payroll. And the third area is the 401k of unpromised funds from the employer.
Okay.
I think the category of wages go into an upper priority in bankruptcy ahead of the general creditors, as should the 401k that was withheld.
Okay.
He's probably one step below the IRS. So I think if all the employees get together, they will have a valid claim in the bankruptcy court ahead of, like in a newspaper, the ink and the paper people.
All right. Thank you very much.
And I hope the man is still listening. Bye-bye.
Bye. See, that's what I like about the show. We get a little help once in a while. Lola, you're on the air.
Yes, I have a question as to IRAs. How long... Yeah, I know we have 60 days to roll over my daughter's pension into an IRA, and she quit work back in August. She was working full-time for the state. She's back in college full-time. She's in Kentucky.
Right.
And, of course, when you want the mail to run slow, it doesn't happen. But we were hoping the check wouldn't get to the bank until her Thanksgiving vacation. Well, they already called and said it's in, and the 60 days is up 2 days before she gets home for vacation. Is there anything they can do to extend that just 2 or 3 days?
Here's the answer. I have no idea, but here's what I'm going to tell you to call, okay?
Okay.
If you listen to the show regularly, you know we have Mark Virginis on from time to time, and Mark is a financial planner, financial guy, okay?
Uh-huh.
And he works with these things. So let me give you his office number.
Okay.
Okay, it's Muris Financial Partners down in Lancaster, but I know he spends a lot of time in Mechanicsburg, too, so he's got the mid-state covered. 509-4521.
Okay.
Okay, 509-4521. Call him because that's the sort of things he deals with. That's less legal advice and more financial planning advice, but more importantly, even where the rules and regulations come in, he's going to know them off the top of his head.
Okay, and the number was 509?
4521. That's Mark Virginis with Muris Financial Partners. And, of course, obviously I tell anybody out there who needs a financial planner that this is a good guy to talk to. Okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Bye.
540-0580. Oh, boy. Well, I got Dave coming up here on the line. Dave, you're on the line. Dave.
Yes, sir.
What do you got?
Oh, hey, Carl. This is Dave from Thomasville. I was down at Outer Banks this September. And,
wow. Are you whining about that? What's your point? I went down at Outer Banks. It was rainy.
Dude, it did. See, this is the thing, man. It didn't turn out too good. Like, I was down there, thinking it was going to be a great time. The long and short of it is I was on my way to the pier, past some local lady, and on a, single dotted lane, it was allowed to pass her, and she got ticked off. She followed me to the fishing pier, and she said that I was driving reckless. Was on the pier fishing. About 20 minutes later, Sheriff's Department showed up from the local jurisdiction and said, hey, can you come outside? I said, no. They said, yes, you're coming with us. I said, okay. Came outside, and they pretty much had the lady identify me as the guy that cut her off. And I said, okay. She said no, and the long and short of it is they wrote me up for reckless driving for cutting this lady off. Now, my question is, how is on a traffic citation a civilian can point out another civilian and the cops didn't see anything, and they can write you up the sheriff's department can write you up for a traffic citation that they never seen. It's a traffic thing. It's not like robbery. It's not
that happens here in Pennsylvania, though, too. I mean, it's called information received. So if I see you speeding, traffic too, absolutely. If I see you speeding, I can call the police, and if the police officer wants to write the ticket and bring me in as a witness to testify, then they may be able to prove their case. One of the police officers that we had on the show one time, I think, said that, you know, the reason that he or she called in on Durgan, said they don't do things on information received because the witness never shows up. But they do get people that'll call, and they'll be like, well, I was behind this guy, and he was doing this and that, and some officers will write them. Yes, let's start from the premise that, yes, they may take her at her word and write you up. Now, what's your defense, right? Your defense is prove I did it. And if the judge believes her beyond a reasonable doubt, you're guilty.
Are you kidding? On a traffic, Carl?
Well, you know what? This is where I always get confused. Everybody thinks it's okay to put somebody away for 20 years on a murder or rape based on the eyewitness testimony of one person. But they're indignant that they can get a traffic ticket for it.
but dude, isn't reckless driving it's the opinion of...
Well, you're right. Her opinion of reckless driving, she can't make an opinion. She can only describe what you did, and then the judge would have to determine if he agrees with what she said, whether it meets the legal standard of reckless driving.
All right, man. Carl, it sucks.
Now here's the next problem, right? You got to go all the way to North Carolina to fight it.
Exactly, man. Well, there's the whole waiver of appearance thing, and I got to pay $2,000 for a big lawyer down there because, anyway.
Now, here's my other question. Did you ever figure out, is she a tourist too, or was she a local?
No, she's a local, dude.
Listen,
I already got a good lawyer, and his thing is she a property owner or not? He's figured out she's not a property owner, which means she doesn't pull no weight. She's just some probably local crazy lady who rents in a trailer park, but still the same deal, man. I'm a CDL holder. Like, I make my bread and butter off of driving, and this lady's trying to get me 4 points for saying that I cut her off. Dude, she says I cut her off on the way to a fishing pier. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm on the pier fishing, and this lady has the sheriff show up and cite me for a violation that's 4 points on my CDL, dude. I haven't had anything in 10 years on my license. Now, my lawyer's telling me, you may be able to take a driving school online, this, and that, yada, yada. That's all well and good, dude. I'm a CDL holder. Like, this is how I make my money.
Right, so you need to protect your license. I understand.
And this is off some freaking, lady driving a 1994 Suburban who probably lives in a trailer park saying that I cut her off. Like, are you kidding me? I actually got to go to court now and pay $3,000 from $3,000 to retain a lawyer down in North Carolina. This is nuts, man. But anyway,
I know. Welcome to. So I was in the local establishment the other day, and a young man said to me, he's like, how much of this, like, because a buddy of his was charged with threatening his wife or something like this, and he's like, this is such garbage. This woman always claims this and this and that. And he's like, how much of that stuff do you guys actually see up in court? And I go, well, do you know how much of the stuff we see is garbage? Because it comes down to, and he's having a hard time with this, and it's just as you're not having much fun with it, is a lot of times your legal fate comes down to the fact that some crazy person has been said that you did something. And now an entire court session is going to determine your fate. And if they're believed, and you have no ability to prove you didn't do it because you don't have a videotape or anything like that.
Pretty much, man. Yeah.
Right. So, the legal system is crammed full of junk, terrible witnesses, et cetera, et cetera. And I suspect, though, I'll give you one little thought here. It does sound like the police. Do you think it would have gone down differently if you would have just told the police, "Sure, I'll come out with you"?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Say that again, Carl.
If you just looked the police officer and said, "Sure, I'll do whatever you want," if you had been more compliant on his initial request, do you think it would have gone differently?
Probably, man. I was pretty pissed because I'm on vacation. I'm fishing. Like I said, clean record for 10 years. I'm a CDL holder, and I got two deputies, dude. Two deputies dressed in cargo pants and boots come out in the pier. Mr. Barry, can you follow me this way? Well, what's going on? Well, some lady said you cut her off. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Then they asked me, "Can I search your vehicle?" Are you kidding me, man?
Why do they want to search your vehicle?
Well, she said that the way I was driving, I might have been drinking.
Oh, okay.
And I told him absolutely not. And he said, well, you don't smell like alcohol and XYZ. Well, we're going to write you up anyway because she said you were driving reckless. Well, on a traffic? You're going to write me up on the word of this? Anyway, man. All right.
Did you catch any fish?
Nothing too big.
Gotcha. Anything, nothing too big. I prefer, rather than piers, I usually prefer to go find the inlet-outlet area. But, like where the intercoastal waterway meets the ocean and the tide brings it in and out. I find those are better than the piers.
Well, the piers, you ain't got to get a license. You pay one solid fee,
Ah, that's true. That's true. And you don't have to catch your own bait. All right, my friend.
All right.
540-0580. See you after the break. I think I'm back now. It's one of those days. It's not me. It's not my guy in the booth is having a heck of a time with the computer today, and it's just not doing what it's supposed to do, which I agree. Trust me. Plus, you can never get the levels right in the headset, but that's my end. So what can I do? Long story short, though, what was I going to tell you guys? Oh, this global warming garbage. Okay, so out comes the IPCC, right? Mankind is the dominant factor in global warming. Okay, we're the dominant cause of global warming. Now, the dominant ingredient in fruit roll-ups is fruit. Okay, but they also have in them, or at least some versions of them, they also have behind the behind the fruit, they have sucrose, and then they'll have high fructose corn syrup, and then they'll have corn syrup, and then they'll have white grape juice concentrate, and then they'll have apple juice concentrate. Well, all those other ingredients are basically sugar, okay? So at the end of the day, your fruit roll-up's like 15% strawberries, and the rest is sugar. But they can legitimately tell you that the number one ingredient, okay, is sugar. So is fruit, is strawberry. So strawberry is the dominant ingredient. It is the primary ingredient in the fruit roll-up, but it's very misleading. And so when the IPCC says that that they're 95% certain that man is the dominant cause, okay? They're 95% sure man is the dominant cause of global warming. They don't necessarily mean that we're not just a 5% cause or a 10% cause or a 20% cause versus being, 100% cause. All they're telling us is that out of the many causes, they're putting us first in the order from greatest to least, but the answer is, with being the dominant cause, we could be subsumed by all the undervailing causes. However, if you go to my Facebook page, we have a few posts about this, and we got a really good post from a guy named Marshall explaining how actually, if you look at the climate science and the timing periods that they use, it's all wrong. So maybe in the next break, I'll pull that up and we'll talk about it. Which reminds me, I have to remind you guys to, if you need an auction or you want to liquidate an estate or business, I recommend you call RJ Gold Auctions. You can buy outright or sell your items at auction. RJ Gold can be reached at 645-0061. You purchase outright items such as medals, pins, patches, tokens, awards, and badges, and most historical collectibles. He can pay you right away. RJ Gold, 645-0061. He's over on 6th Street in Harrisburg. Plan to attend RJ's awesome auction Sunday, September 29th, which is tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the American Legion in Harrisburg. Again, PA license auctioneer number AU005798. And if you haven't been to one of RJ's awesome auctions, get over there tomorrow at the American Legion in Harrisburg and check it out. It's at 1 p.m. Also want to remind you, on Tuesday, October 1st, from 7 to 9 p.m., I'll be at the Haas's Steakhouse in 61 Gettysburg Pike in Mechanicsburg, open to the public to talk about gun laws and gun rights. So if you want to know anything about guns, gun laws, trends, self-defense, all those good things, it's just a big open discussion led by me. Tuesday, October 1st, 7 to 9 at the Haas's Steakhouse at 61 Gettysburg Pike, Mechanicsburg, PA. Hope to see you there. And also, I just want to thank Harrisburg Beer and Cigar. I just posted on my Facebook page a picture of a basket that includes a box of cigars from them that I donated to a charity golf outing for the children with the YMCA. And you can see the box there that I got from Harrisburg Beer and Cigar as part of a greater package. But I want to thank those guys because they do have some of the best cigars in the area. In fact, probably one of the best selections I've ever seen in the local area. And it's over there on 3842 Union Deposit Road, which is by the Lowe's. So stop over and smoke a cigar with me. I'm thinking about heading over after the show myself and puffing one for a few minutes. So maybe I'll see you there. All right, who do we need to talk to here? Who's been hanging on the longest? Well, JD, you get the longest hang-on time there. What's going on?
Did you say JD?
JD, Jack Daniels.
Well, my Jack Daniels days is way gone. Anyway, Carl, you make them cigars sound so good, man. I'm ready to take up cigar smoking.
Yeah, well, I hope I'm not going to be responsible for any other vices, but if I give you one, just consider yourself lucky.
Man, I can just see myself sitting down with a cigar and a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I tell you what, they go good together.
Anyway, Carl, I just want to hear your thoughts on this. I rent to this married couple. I'm going to say late 40s, early 50s. The husband gets in trouble with the law, and he's in jail, county jail. And apparently he's on some type of, what do you call it, when they, how they had these details out?
Yeah.
Not work release, but they have them on these details. I guess good inmates or whatever. But anyway, from what I understand, he breaks away from one of the details, comes to the house, breaks my door down, and comes in. Cops come and get him. Is that breaking and entering?
He's not living there at the moment?
Well, he's living in the prison. His wife is there.
It's theoretically breaking and entering, but if he has a right to be there, then he's okay to break in. So I guess if he was leasing it originally...
Yeah, but isn't he under the jurisdiction of the judicial system now?
Well, yeah, and he would be in trouble. He would be in trouble with them for going off of the campus, so to speak, or the program. So when guys are on work release and they go to an unauthorized place, that can be considered a form of escape and prosecuted.
Yeah, well, that's true, but I don't know. You pretty much said what the police said and what the district attorney said, but it's just hard for me to wrap my mind around because. He breaks my door down, and they don't even tell me. I learned about it about almost a month later from neighbors.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, it is.
That's interesting. Yeah, no, my thought on it is it's sort of like if I rented a place to you and you're paying your rent and you go to prison for 6 months, it's still your place, right? So I guess you have the right of entry. But
well, that's true. I mean, they do have. I am taking them to the DJ, but it hasn't run its course yet. So
right, which is the problem.
Well, you pretty much said what they said, so I can live with it, I guess.
You know what I'd like to? This is what I like to say sometimes. I like to say, if one person tells me it's going to rain, I think, well, maybe it'll rain. And if 3 people tell me it's going to rain, I start to think it's going to rain. And then if I see rain, I'm really sure it's raining. But the more people that tell me it's going to rain, the more likely I think I am to see it.
Well, I don't know about how many people tell me it's going to rain, but when I'm soaking wet.
But here's the other problem. Here's the thing, though. Yeah, 85% of people can be wrong all at the same time. Just think of American Idol. All right, my friend.
I appreciate it. Take it easy.
All right, 540-0580. John, you want to talk about medical malpractice?
Yeah, Carl. Here in Pennsylvania.
Yep.
What exactly? Let's say you get a medical procedure done, and there was a problem. And what exactly do you need to file a suit?
Well, if there's been actual medical malpractice, okay, in order to file a lawsuit, you have to go file a complaint, and before you can file a complaint, you need to get another doctor to say that there was medical malpractice.
Okay. Now, here's my problem. Okay, I was wrapped up in this PSA mix-up.
Okay.
Okay? Now, I talked to my doctor, and he said, yeah, go get the test. It's free. But I had all these other procedures done in the meantime. Now, he's not going to say he messed up. Follow me?
Okay.
So I'm what, stuck between a rock and a hard place?
Well, in order to bring a medical malpractice lawsuit, you'd have to have another doctor say that the first doctor violated their duty of care. You also still have to have...
no. The initial doctor went by the results of the test.
Right. Okay, well, then you would have to have somebody else say that the lab was wrong by the results of the test.
Well, the news media said the lab was wrong. The hospital said the lab was wrong.
Right, but you still have to prove it in court.
So how do I do that?
Have you talked to a med mal attorney yet?
No.
Okay.
And I mean, here's my problem. I had the PSA test done.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had to have prostate cancer, or not prostate. I had a cancer surgery. Then I had cancer treatments. Then I had a prostate test. Then I had more cancer treatments. And the doctor that did most of this said, yeah, go get another test. And when I went to get the test, they said, what doctor's ordering this? I said, no doctor, me. They said, no, we need a doctor's name. I said, no, I want to know what my results are.
Right.
You follow me? So I guess realistically, unless you got a lot of money and you're a bigwig,
I'm not following you. How were you damaged?
Because I had all the procedures done that may or may not have been necessary.
Okay, so you may have had unnecessary procedures. All right, so what you need to do is you need to go sit down with a medical malpractice attorney and see if they're willing to take the case and whether or not there has to first be negligence, then there has to be damages. And
but you just said I need a doctor to say that.
Well, that's what the med mal gets you. An expert doctor, not a treating physician.
Oh, man.
All right, boss.
All right, I'm telling. Hey, Carl.
Call me.
The average guy, it's sad.
Call me in the office and I'll give you a referral. Okay.
All right, bud.
Steve, you're on WHP 580.
Carl.
He's just mad about his prostate. He'll get over it.
I was
Go
really
ahead.
getting stewed about thinking about that poor CDL driver.
Yeah.
I think what he should do is buy one of those cheap dash cams, go down the day before he has to go to court, and take that same route and film himself, have his fishing gear suit on or whatever, have the radio down low, and just be singing, "Going fishing, I'm on vacation," and all of a sudden, what's this lady on crack? What's she yelling at, And just, refilm the whole trip, and then just use that, and then say, well, why would you have that? And say, because I have a CDL license to protect. I mean, that would be as much as what she said, but yet he's actually filming it.
Right. Of course, he'd be fabricating evidence.
Well, I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean, though.
Right. I understand. Well, this is why I keep saying that I'm going to get a car outfitted with cameras all around.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. But I hear that, and I'm thinking, my gosh, if somebody just even if your ex-wife or an enemy could just create any story they wanted to.
Yeah. Welcome to PFA court.
Oh, my gosh. It must be from all these radio waves we're getting bombed with. And, you were saying about the global warming?
Yes.
My gosh. It is man-made, but I think it has more to do with us with the chemtrails all through Pennsylvania. Good gosh. Yeah, tell people to look up in the sky, and you see those little jet trails way up high, and they look like white exhaust. They come out an hour later, and they're a big, hazy cloud. So, yeah, it's man-made, all right, but it's our own government controlling the weather. But anyway, keep up the good work, buddy.
All right, boss. Thanks.
All right, man. Later.
Got to go to break. All right, welcome back. Carl Rominger here. So I just posted on Facebook for you guys that want to see it, my buddy Marshall's little ditty. But here's basically, let me encapsulate it for you on global warming here. As far as human beings being the dominant cause of global warming, there's a problem that climate scientists never seem to address: the very long-term temperature cycles, 115,000 years. They've been consistent for the past 500,000, and for the 2 million years before that, the temperature cycle was 40,000. The base cold period temp was much higher, but the peak temps align with the current 115-year cycle. Funny how climate science already talks about 2,500 years temp range when the Earth has been warming for as long as the term base of 10,000 years. Anyhow, he goes on basically to point out how there's these much longer cycles in place, and that right now where we are in the longer cycle is actually at the warm phase anyhow, and then usually the base temperature falls way off. And basically say, he goes, so they just ignore the well-documented history of these cycles. Is it pissing in the ocean and saying that's why the tide is rising? Which I really liked when he said that. Then, of course, read this from the climate change people themselves. They say in their report that a pause in warming over the past 15 years is too short to reflect the long-term trends. So, they won't accept a 15-year cooling that we've been experiencing as meaning anything, but they insist on using an artificial 2,500-year period to prove that there was warming when we really are in much longer climate cycles of 100,000 years between ice ages and all those other good things. So, long story short, if you believe that global warming is actually happening, first of all, it's possible. Second of all, it's probably not man-made. Third of all, it probably doesn't matter, because even if we warm it up, it's probably not going to prevent the long-term cycle from flipping back to a much colder Earth anyhow, which we're due for. And finally, even if all those things are incorrect and we are somehow warming up the Earth, who cares? What should we do? Starve all the little kids around the world and turn back our economy to zero on the off chance that somehow we might be damaging our environment? I guess, human beings produce carbon dioxide, so if we want to regulate pollutants, I guess we got to get back to population control. And, of course, it's like it's been pointed out before, Glenn Beckett pointed this out, which I really liked, is that all the cows on Earth produce more methane, which is a more powerful greenhouse gas, than all the carbon dioxide. So we could very simply just stop beef production, just beef. And we would take out literally the entire amount of greenhouse gas of all of our industrial output from carbon dioxide. But I guess nobody's going to stop eating beef anytime soon. And, you know, that's the other thing I thought was, did Al Gore decide to ground all his corporate jets now that it's been proven that global warming is such a big thing according to the IPCC? Anyway, I could prattle on forever, but just remember this. Global warming, eugenics, illegal immigration, all these things that you hear about that are supposed to get you upset and keep you in a state of fear, that's how the politicians control you. Just remember that. So the next time you're worried about something, try to decide whether you really know you should be worried about it or you've just been told you should be worried about it. Jerry, you're on WHP 580. What's going on?
Hey, Carl. Good afternoon, and thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
Carl, do I have a liability issue from being the second name on the title to my 23-year-old son's vehicle, even though he has a separate insurance policy?
Well, everybody worries about this for some reason, and I don't know why. And I mean it like this, like I always feel like maybe I'm missing something. But no, the title is not the issue. What is the issue is who's operating the car at the time. And you can run into negligent entrustment. So just to give you an example, let's say you and I are out drinking, right? And I'm like, well, I'm going to stay. And you're like, well, I want to go to another bar. And I'm like, well, you're kind of drunk. And you're like, yeah, but I want to go. And I'm like, well, here, take my keys, take my car. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're responsible, and now I'm responsible because I've negligently entrusted my automobile to you at a time when I knew you weren't capable of safe driving, okay? The title doesn't matter. That makes sense?
It does, but, you know, I've questioned a couple other people on this issue, and it was a 50-50.
Right, and that's because people somehow think title means something.
Yeah.
And it all goes to negligent entrustment. So here's the only question. Is there any reason to believe that your 23-year-old son, right, is a hazard with the automobile more so than anybody else or in a particular fashion? I mean, does he have 14 DUIs? Does he have a history of driving 110 miles an hour that you're aware of?
None of the above.
Yeah, so
very responsible, recent graduate from college, doing well in the world, but it was just advice from the insurance company, and I guess it's just me and my old school way of doing things, liking to keep numerous names on numerous
right.
What's the word I'm looking for? Accounts, so that when, unfortunately, not to be the Grim Reaper, if somebody passes away, you don't have to go and.
Let me give you another. Yeah, no,
I like owner rights or survivorship issues as opposed to having to go fight the state for vehicles, for houses.
I agree with you, but now here, let me give you another example that may help put your mind at ease as well, because people forget about this all the time. But yeah, if you've ever slipped and fallen in a parking lot, okay?
Yeah.
Who do you sue? The building owner or the tenant? Do you know the answer?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is it depends. But here's the answer. If I lease the building, right, and my lease includes the parking lot, I'm responsible for the parking lot. The mere fact that I own the land, or that somebody else owns the land, does not make them responsible in any way, shape, or form. So a leaseholder can be delegated absolutely, and the title holder has no liability, okay? So there just seems to be a weird thing in people's minds where they think that title somehow controls who's liable. Who's responsible for the property or item controls who's responsible, not who owns it.
Let me press you just a bit further on the issue. To your experience, the judges of the local counties, which way would they fall?
We've never, I can say I've never seen anybody get in trouble for being in a title of a car where somebody else committed an act with it, because there always has to be negligent entrustment. Let me give you an example, because here's the other area where this would be highly litigated, and it isn't. Husbands and wives have tenants in the entirety protection, right? And you can't reach their marital estate because it's owned by the marriage. So in order to really beat up a husband or wife in court, you really need to get the other spouse, right? Most couples have their cars jointly titled. There's a reason why just because one of them ran you over, you can't sue the other one and therefore reach the marital estate. And it's because the issue isn't how it's titled. The issue is who's responsible. So again, there's just this false sense out there that somehow and I actually another lawyer. She's like, well, I don't want a title, and my car title, I have a still title in my name, and they're going to be driving it until they And I was like, you're missing the boat. As long as you have no reason to believe the person's doing something bad with it. So the differences are this: if I know you're drunk and I give you the keys, I'm in trouble. If I'm your wife and we just own the car together, and you're on the way home from work, get loaded, it ain't my problem. Because I'm on the title with you, or I'm your wife, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's no liability issues.
Okay. Well, I guess my insurance company would differ with you. But,
well, you tell them to call me. You tell them to call into this show and tell them I'll be ready, because it just reminds me of this one. This is the other one you hear. Here, watch. I'm going to simulate. I knock on the door. Hi, Mr. Farmer. I would like to fish in your pond. Oh, Mr. Rominger, I don't let anybody fish in the pond because it's a big liability issue and I can get sued if I give them permission.
Mm-hmm.
Bull. You can get sued whether you give permission or not. Permission's got nothing to do with it. On the other hand, you have the same duty. You have the same duty to me as you do to a trespasser, essentially. So, allowing me to fish in your pond does not increase your liability in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And in fact, Pennsylvania has a statute that says that if you allow me to recreationally hunt or fish on your land and don't take money for it, you're probably immune from lawsuit anyhow. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, every old farmer, oh yeah, I couldn't handle the liability. I don't want to pay out on anything.
Mm-hmm.
Completely bad law, completely ingrained into people.
Yeah, it is.
All right?
Thank you, sir.
All right, take care. 540-0580. Larry, what do you want to talk about?
Hello, Carl.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, I own a little coffee shop in Carlisle.
Yeah.
And with Starbucks putting out, they don't want law-abiding gun owners to bring their guns in to their shops. I would like to advertise that gun owners are welcome in my shop, and I encourage them to carry.
Okay, well, where's your shop?
Right on Hanover Street there.
What's it called?
Courthouse Commons, sir.
I think I might have met you once or twice.
Yeah.
All right, so Courthouse Commons, Carlisle, right by the courthouse. You're welcome to bring your gun. I assume you don't have a problem with open or concealed carry then.
Right. I'm a gun owner. I have the license to carry. My wife carries, too. And if anything should happen in there where there's a rogue, somebody goes rogue and starts capping, I would encourage one of my other customers that are carrying to put an end to it.
All right. So the Pro Gun shop, or the Pro Gun coffee shop in Carlisle, is Courthouse Commons, right by the courthouse. Stop in and give Larry a visit. All right.
Okay.
All right, my friend.
If I advertise, how can I do that without Starbucks saying, "Hey"?
Oh, I think you can advertise it. I mean, they're going to claim, I think you can put in the end. You just have to put a little, asterisk by Starbucks, and down at the bottom put that Starbucks as a trademark of, the same way any other person does a product comparison.
Okay, good enough. Thanks, sir.
All right, boss. A shootout. We're going to have a shootout at the coffee shop.
Better get some free coffee out of that.
Well, in Starbucks, by the way, it's sort of playing both sides of it. They're like, they're not welcome, but we're not gonna, enforce it. Maybe not. Maybe. Now, I will give Starbucks one thing though. They had sort of been thrust into this because the open carry guys were all just kind of gathering there and saying, "Hey, we're open carrying at the Starbucks," and so it really wasn't Starbucks' choice to be part of this. And of course, any big corporation does not want to be in the middle of any hot button social issue. Corporations just want to sell product and make money. But of course, they will get involved in hot button social issues if they feel it will somehow help them sell product and make money. All right. Hey, welcome back. Carl Rominger here, 540-0580. Just want to remind you again, if you need to liquidate estate or business, call RJ Gold Auctions at 645-0061. And, of course, you're familiar with RJ Gold from the show. But RJ Gold is having his awesome auction tomorrow, September 29th at 1 p.m. at the American Legion in Harrisburg. And I want you to get over there and check it out. So if you're into auctions, you like to check out collectibles, things like that, he's going to have quite a show over there September 29th tomorrow, 1 p.m. It's Sunday at 1 p.m., the American Legion in Harrisburg, PA licensed auctioneer number AU005798. Again, RJ Gold, 645-0061 if you want to call RJ and ask him what he's going to have there in case I don't want to drive over, not drive over. Call RJ at 645-0061. I'm sure he will tell you what you have. Jay, what's up?
Hey, Carl. Hey, I just wonder if you would become more of a political show than a legal show.
Well, today only.
Yeah, of course, I'm on a little bit of the other side, but I just, all you guys are starting to sound alike because you're all on one side. But anyway, a question I have, somebody brought up Starbucks, which I think I don't know if they just requested. Now, I do believe that you're entitled to have weapons and so forth and so on, even though I don't carry or own any myself. But why, for instance, this is what I don't quite understand. I hear, it sounds to me a lot of people say that are weapons owners. If I don't want you coming into my house with your gun, I have a perfect right to say
Correct.
so. So why do they think a business doesn't have that right?
No, business does. Business does have that right, and I think people realize that. But they don't want them to actually. The fear is if all businesses simply say no guns here, then a gun owner really can't go out and do their business. Right now, you can't stop at the post office. If you can't go into the Turkey Hill with your gun on, how are you going to get your gas? If you can't go into the McDonald's with your gun, how are you going to get your burger? But my theory on that is
conceal it so nobody knows you have one. I don't know.
Well, right, and that's theoretically
legally,
that's
you're legal, but you're not.
But a business owner may post under a concealed carry statute. Anybody can exclude people from carrying weapons on their property. But of course, this gets to be a problem because let's look at this in the analysis of the First Amendment versus the Second. Right? We've said historically that businesses can limit speech to some extent. Okay. But then in California and some other places, I think it was Prune Yard Shopping Mall or something like this, they said, well, wait a minute. The mall really is the new public space. Everybody from the community comes here every weekend to shop and browse and eat and dine. And just allowing the blanket exclusion of free speech is effectively like saying there's no speech at all because you can go downtown and speak all you want and there's nobody there. So there's always been a struggle between private property rights and the exercise of those private property rights when they affect the communal interest of, say, the First Amendment or, in this case, the Second Amendment. So it's a tension that's going to continue to grow. The response, though, is just like the coffee shop we just heard from in Carlisle, Courthouse Commons. They're basically saying, hey, if you want to carry your gun and feel welcome, come buy our coffee.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's just when sometimes I hear people, it's as if they think because, they have the right to go into somebody's residence despite what that person says.
Well, no, they don't, and that's the businesses and residences aren't exactly the same. But here's the other thing: you can tell somebody not to come into your house because you don't like their skin color, okay?
Right.
But you can't tell somebody not to come into your restaurant because you do not like their skin color.
Well, like we say, the law doesn't always meet the logic.
And you can give a discount to senior citizens because there's age discrimination in restaurants is okay. Age discrimination in employment is not.
Well, you can have religious discrimination, can't you? Because I don't think that's protected. I remember that one place. Apparently, if you went to church, you got a discount.
Yeah, they couldn't. They actually did run afoul because in restaurant public accommodation like that, religion is in the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act. Age is not in that portion.
Okay, I thought it wasn't because I know if you're, say, a Christian college or something like that, or Jewish.
And that's the other question is primary religious missions. So now we have people like who own a business who want to say, I don't want to buy health insurance that requires me to pay for birth control. And that's becoming one of the big flare-ups is religious freedom versus the economic impact of Obamacare.
Yeah. Well, I'll let somebody else get on.
All right, my friend. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off so fast. Lee, what's going on? Lee.
I'm so glad you cut him off. He didn't want to talk about politics, and that's all he talked about. Anyhow, so I thought I wouldn't get my time in. I talked to you a couple weeks ago, and it's important what I want to talk about survivorship or power of attorney. This girlfriend of my daughter's has been in a state of no response since August the 15th. taken into intensive care. Now she's in Mechanicsburg, and you said if it was close enough where they took her, she's in a special place because she's intubated.
Yep.
So that's in Mechanicsburg now. And I was wondering if that's a place you could come to meet her to get guardianship or power of attorney if she, quote-unquote, wakes up.
Well, if she wakes up, we can get a power of attorney, but it sounds like it's going to be a guardianship. But, yeah, that's close.
Is it? Okay. I'll leave it up to my daughter to call you then, but since she isn't here and I'm talking to you again in 2 weeks, lucky me. Our attorney, 2 weeks of my life.
2 weeks of life. Well, the phone number at the office is 241-6070, okay?
Okay.
241-6070. We'll be looking for it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Carl.
Let's see. Bob in Dauphin, what's going on? Bob.
Yes.
Are you up in Dauphin, like up in the redneck version of Dauphin up there? Up by Stony Creek?
No, we're up higher than that.
Oh, you're in the high redneck version. All right. What's going on?
Okay. Several neighbors have an accumulation of property in excess of, we'll say, 200 acres.
I thought you were going to tell me accumulation of unexploded shells landing on them from the Gap, but go ahead. Okay.
We don't want to go that far. Anyway, a nonprofit organization acquired a piece of property to the north of all of us, and then out of the clear blue, no notification or anything like that, sent someone, a non-registered surveyor, to post their property and have it no trespassing. It is not part of the national park, but it goes by a name similar to that, which owns the national park owns the top of the mountain, and this nonprofit organization out of West Virginia put their what they thought was their property line, I'll say, and cut right through three of our properties, basically cutting. In one case, it cut off 2 acres of a piece of property, and in my case, it cut off close to 4 acres, and the next neighbor cut his in half.
Okay.
And he owns the most property.
So what's the question?
What legal ramifications do we have to put them back where the property lines really are? Since this all occurred, we have already had it surveyed and know exactly where our boundaries are.
You can push them off. You can push them off, absolutely. We would file a trespass action and basically say, why are they doing this? And they can't be here, and we want their boundary line not marked accordingly. In other words, they trespassed when they marked it here.
Right, and they cut trees, cut a blaze through the property, etc.
Yeah, and it could be damages for that as well. But you can certainly preclude them from being there.
Okay. Any potential that they would have to pay for the survey?
Potentially for the survey, yeah, maybe. You could consider that damages, maybe. If they damage the land, we might be able to sneak the money for that out of the blaze as well.
Right. Okay.
But I would defend your rights, because if you don't defend your land, then
Right.
All right.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right. You got cause of action. Probably got to head out of here. Don't forget to stop and see RJ's awesome auction tomorrow at the American Legion Harrisburg, PA license auctioneer AU 005798. I'm heading over to Harrisburg Beer and Cigar right now. I'm going to smoke a cigar. I'm a little scrungy right now, so don't make any errors. But I am going to go over there and smoke a cigar, so you're welcome to join me. That's over on Union Deposit right by the Lowe's. So hopefully somebody will come on out and we'll smoke them in their lounge. They got a great big, huge humidor, and they got a beautiful lounge you can smoke them in. And don't forget my buddy CDL Labor Logistics over in Carlisle, seeking experienced, qualified commercial drivers with clean records. If you're a truck driver and you want a really good job, I want you to call these guys, 866-293-1880. Looking for a little bit of experience and a clean record. They really do a phenomenal thing going on. It's 866-293-1880. And most importantly, this Tuesday, October 1st, 7 to 9 p.m. in Mechanicsburg at the Haas's Steakhouse, I will be talking with Liberty Alliance on gun rights, so I expect to see you there. All right, guys. See you next week. Take care. God bless. And hopefully I'll see if you guys smoke cigars in a few minutes at Harrisburg Beer and Cigar, and I'll see the rest of you Tuesday at 7 o'clock at Haas's Steakhouse in Gettysburg Pike, Mechanicsburg, PA.